A sister's favor. Shafts of afternoon sunlight, thick with drifting dust motes, lanced through Maya's window, highlighting the teetering towers of books that threatened to cascade from her laden shelves. Lost in the hushed world of a bygone era, a tepid cup of tea sat forgotten at her side, when a sudden surge of energy shattered the stillness. Maya. Guess what? Birthday month is officially on. Lily, a vision in canary yellow, pirouetted into the room, dislodging a flurry of sticky notes marking Maya's favorite passages. Startled, Maya blinked, dragged abruptly from her fictional world. Happy birthday month, she murmured, struggling to keep her place in the narrative. Lily landed on the bed with a theatrical thump that made the springs creak. This year calls for something different. Something exhilarating. She leaned forward, propped on her elbows, eyes alight with mischief. And I have the perfect plan. Maya's stomach clenched. Lily's concept of exhilarating often involved ear-splitting music, questionable sartorial choices, and Maya serving as reluctant chaperone. Which is, she inquired cautiously. A date, Lily announced with a flourish. A blind date. Arranged by none other than you. Maya's jaw went slack. Me? Lily, you realize I'm utterly inept at that. I practically choked trying to order takeout. The prospect of engineering a romantic rendezvous for her effervescent sister sent a shiver of apprehension down her spine. Precisely. That's what makes it brilliant. You possess impeccable taste, Maya, albeit understated. And I trust you. You instinctively know what I like. Lily's tone softened, and she reached for Maya's hand, giving it a gentle squeeze. Besides, she added with a sly grin, it will liberate you from this bookish sanctuary. Maya glanced around at her haven, at the comforting weight of familiar covers and well-thumbed pages. Lily had a point, perhaps. Too much time was spent cloistered away with fictional companions. Still, a blind date. I wouldn't even know where to begin, Maya demurred weakly. I barely interact with people. My social circle is entirely literary. Think. Surely you know someone suitable. A charming classmate from your poetry workshop. Or that adorable guy who makes your lattes at the cafe. Lily's enthusiasm proved infectious, but Maya remained unconvinced. She worried her lip considering. There was Ethan, from her poetry seminar, perpetually clad in graphic tees, who seemed far more animated discussing meter than mingling. And the barista, David, who always remembered her usual, but she suspected it was simply good customer service. I don't know, Maya faltered, feeling the pressure of Lily's expectations mount. Lily's expression clouded over slightly. Please, Maya. It would mean the world to me. It's all I truly desire for my birthday. Her voice held a note of earnestness that Maya couldn't readily dismiss. Maya released a sigh. She always yielded. All right, she conceded reluctantly. I'll try. But no guarantees. Lily shrieked with delight, engulfing Maya in a fierce embrace. You're the most wonderful sister ever. This is going to be spectacular. As Lily skipped out of the room, already envisioning the perfect ensemble for her mystery meeting, Maya slumped back against her pillows, a wave of trepidation washing over her. She was completely out of her depth. But she had a month to figure it out. And she would, for Lily. Even if it meant braving the perilous landscape of matchmaking. The Victorian manor suddenly seemed a lot less of a refuge. The online ad. The cursor blinked, an impudent taunt on the stark white dating profile. Maya gnawed her pen's cap, a paper graveyard testifying to her struggle. Cataloging Lily's attributes was simple enough: emerald eyes that sparkled, a smile capable of melting glaciers, a laugh that was pure, unadulterated joy. But translating that effervescence into snappy profile prose felt like trying to bottle lightning. Come on, she murmured, words appearing and vanishing as quickly as they came. Lily is a dynamic, curious soul with a passion for everything under the sun. Too vague. She attacks life head-on, whether she's conquering a sheer rock face or belting out off-key anthems at karaoke. Better. Lily's off-key renditions were legendary. The photo choice was obvious: Lily, doubled over with laughter, hair whipped by the wind, gripping a rapidly dissolving ice cream cone on a Balinese beach. It radiated carefree delight, spontaneity, and blissful disregard for potential stains. Maya grimaced, recalling the furious battle against melted chocolate on Lily's favorite sundress after that snapshot. Then came the crux: seeking someone who... Maya's fingers stalled above the keys. Someone who could match Lily's inexhaustible energy. Someone unfazed by a challenging hike, or a sudden cross-country jaunt. Someone who wasn't her. Slowly, deliberately, she typed, seeking someone kind, adventurous, and with a terrific sense of humor. Safe. Bland. Utterly devoid of any hint of her own penchant for quiet nights with a book, her distaste for crowded spaces, her general lack of that spark. She tacked on a caveat: profile managed by Lily's sister, so fire away with any questions. A flimsy disclaimer, a desperate attempt to weave a thread of authenticity into this fabricated image. The final click, launching the profile into the digital void, felt like sending a leaf skiff into a tidal wave. A queasy wave rolled over her, a blend of apprehension and something else. An odd, unfamiliar pulse of anticipation. She shut her laptop, the screen's afterglow fading from her face. The room seemed hushed, the only sound the fridge's gentle thrum. Moving to the window, Maya watched the city lights blaze in the distance. She envisioned Lily, out there somewhere, laughing, embracing life. And for a moment, a quick, stolen second, Maya allowed herself to dream of a life less muted. A life that perhaps contained a flicker of that infectious joy. But just for a moment. Then, turning from the window, she began to gather the discarded drafts from her desk. A kind response. The sheer volume of messages was overwhelming. Maya scrolled through them, each one a digital ping vying for her attention. Most were generic, bordering on aggressive. "Hey, you are cute." One even just said, "Netflix and chill." She shuddered. This was exactly why she hated online dating. It felt less like finding a connection and more like being assessed, commodified. She nearly closed the app in disgust, but the thought of Lily's hopeful face stopped her. Taking a deep breath, Maya tried a different approach. She skipped the profiles with shirtless pictures and bios that bragged about six-figure salaries. She looked for something, anything, that hinted at kindness, at genuine interest. Finally, a message caught her eye. It was from someone named Alex Chen. "Hi Maya," it began. Simple, but already better. "I read in your profile that you're doing this for your sister. That's really sweet of you. I have a younger sister myself, so I know how important family is." Maya felt a tiny flicker of warmth. He'd actually read her profile. The message continued, "I'm not sure what Lily is looking for, but I thought I'd tell you a bit about myself. I work as a software engineer, but what I really love is spending time outdoors. I'm a big hiker, and I try to get out to the trails every weekend. I also volunteer at a local animal shelter. There's something really fulfilling about helping those little guys." Maya paused. Hiking. Volunteering. These weren't the typical online dating boasts. She clicked on his profile picture. It wasn't a posed, filtered shot. He was on a mountaintop, windblown and smiling, with the vast expanse of the valley behind him. He looked genuine. She scrolled through the rest of his profile. He enjoyed reading, trying new restaurants, and spending time with his family. There were no mentions of fast cars or exotic vacations, just simple, wholesome interests. A wave of relief washed over her. This wasn't some player looking for a quick hookup. Alex seemed nice. Genuinely nice. He sounds perfect for Lily, she murmured to herself. Lily, with her own kind heart and love for animals. They could go on hikes together, volunteer together. The image of them laughing, connecting, filled Maya with a sense of hope she hadn't felt since starting this whole ridiculous charade. Taking another deep breath, she typed a reply. Hi Alex, she wrote. Thank you so much for your thoughtful message. I really appreciate you taking the time to read my profile. I think you might be a good match for my sister, Lily. Date night plans. He sounds incredible, Maya, truly. A doctor who volunteers. What's not to adore? Lily spun a lock of raven hair around her finger, her eyes bright with a fervor that ignited a now familiar knot of anxiety in Maya's stomach. Here it was, Operation Lily Gets a Life, officially launched. Sure, Maya mumbled, forcing her attention to her textbook, though the words blurred into meaningless shapes. Incredible. I'm so grateful Mom orchestrated this. Work has been a whirlwind, dating's been the last thing on my mind. But this feels promising. Lily, perched on the bed's edge, bounced with barely contained energy. Okay, so listen, you're at the helm. Maya's head shot up. At the helm? Of what, exactly? Everything. The eatery, the booking, ensuring the vibe is relaxed but refined. The atmosphere, you know. You possess such exquisite taste, Maya. I trust your judgment implicitly. Lily beamed, oblivious to the rising tide of panic in her sister's expression. But I don't. I barely know the guy, Maya stammered, adjusting her glasses. The notion of curating a dining experience, where her sister's romantic destiny might be determined, felt like an impossible weight. What if her selection missed the mark? Too extravagant? Too casual? A dismal ambience? Uninspired appetizers? Precisely. That's what makes you the ideal candidate. You'll maintain perspective. Untainted by, well, palpitations of the heart. Lily's wink bordered on conspiratorial. Consider it a task. You excel at those. A task. Right. A task with implications that could reshape her sister's future. Maya struggled to swallow. All right, she peeped, the sound almost lost. Wonderful. I knew I could rely on you. I'm leaning towards Italian. Everyone's a sucker for pasta, aren't they? And scrutinize those online reviews. I'd rather not risk a place with questionable hygiene. Lily grabbed her bag and sailed toward the door. Oh, and double confirm the reservation. I'm bursting with anticipation. Chat soon. The click of the latch resonated in the sudden quiet of the room, the weight of Lily's hopes suddenly a tangible presence. Italian. Appraisals. Arrangements. Atmosphere. A deluge of details threatened to overwhelm her. She glanced at her textbook, the equations were now utterly incomprehensible. With a sigh, Maya abandoned her studies and powered up her laptop. Google beckoned. She typed in romantic Italian restaurants nearby, unleashing a torrent of choices. Each came with descriptions, menus, and star ratings, a confusing labyrinth of options that made her temples throb. This was shaping up to be more daunting than she'd imagined. Mistaken identity. The scent of simmering garlic and oregano hung heavy in the air, a comforting blanket against Maya's jittery nerves. She smoothed down the floral dress Lily had practically forced her to wear, the fabric feeling alien against her skin. Usually, she was curled up in oversized sweaters and jeans, lost in the pages of a well-worn novel. Tonight, she was Lily. Or at least, pretending to be. She checked her watch for the 10th time in as many minutes. 7:23 p.m. Early, she knew, but being early meant everything was perfect. The table, tucked away in a quiet corner of Bella Notte, was ideal. Candlelight flickered across the crisp white tablecloth, casting dancing shadows that almost hid her trembling hands. The bell above the door jingled, announcing a new arrival. Maya's breath hitched. This was it. A man entered, his gaze sweeping across the room before settling on her. He had kind eyes and a warm, easy smile that crinkled the corners. In his hand, he held a bouquet of wildflowers, daisies, cornflowers, and vibrant poppies, tied together with twine. They looked like they'd been plucked straight from a meadow. He approached her table, his smile widening. "Lily," he asked, his voice a pleasant baritone. "I'm Alex. Sorry if I'm a little early. I wanted to make sure I found you." He extended the bouquet towards her. "These reminded me of you, bright and beautiful." Maya froze. Lily hadn't mentioned wildflowers. Or a smile that could melt glaciers. "Hi," she managed, her voice barely a whisper. She reached for the flowers, her fingers brushing against his. A jolt, unexpected and unsettling, shot up her arm. "They're lovely. Thank you." He pulled out the chair opposite her and sat down, still beaming. "I'm so glad you suggested Bella Notte. I've heard great things. And you look stunning." Maya's cheeks flushed crimson. Stunning was never a word associated with her. Invisible, perhaps. Bookish, definitely. But stunning. Never. This was wrong. So terribly wrong. She had to correct him. She opened her mouth, ready to blurt out the truth, to explain the elaborate charade she and Lily had concocted. But the words caught in her throat. Alex was recounting an amusing anecdote about his disastrous attempt to bake a cake, his eyes sparkling with self-deprecating humor. He was nice. Genuinely nice. Everything Lily had described and more. The lie felt heavy, a stone lodged in her chest. But the warmth of his smile, the casual ease of his conversation, the unexpected compliment, they were intoxicating. For once, someone was seeing her, or at least, the Lily version of her, and she was enjoying it. A dangerous, thrilling part of her didn't want it to end. The waiter arrived, breaking the spell. "Can I get you both something to drink?" Alex turned to her. "Lily? What are you having?" Maya swallowed hard. This was her chance. The point of no return. But the words still wouldn't come. "Just water, please," she mumbled, avoiding his gaze. The waiter nodded and left. Alex turned back to her, his smile unwavering. The wildflowers sat between them, a silent testament to a lie that was rapidly spiraling out of control. The internal battle raged within Maya. Tell him. Tell him now. But what if she did? Would that light in his eyes vanish? Would he be disappointed? Would Lily be angry? The tension stretched, thin and fragile, threatening to snap at any moment. Unexpected connection. "So," Alex said, tilting his head slightly, a genuine smile crinkling the corners of his eyes, "Lily, how's that pottery class going? Last time we talked, you were wrestling with a particularly stubborn lump of clay." Maya's mind raced. Pottery. Lily had never mentioned pottery. "Oh, you know," she stammered, forcing a laugh that sounded horribly fake even to her own ears, still wrestling. "That clay is a real character." Alex chuckled, a warm, inviting sound. "I can imagine. It's like trying to tame a wild animal, isn't it?" He seemed so easy to talk to, so unlike the other guys Lily brought home, the ones who talked incessantly about their stock options and golf handicaps. This felt different. "Exactly," Maya exclaimed, seizing on the metaphor. "A very muddy, uncooperative wild animal." The conversation flowed surprisingly easily after that. He asked about her favorite restaurants. Maya cautiously named one Lily had mentioned, her job thankfully vague enough to avoid specifics, and her hobbies. It was when he mentioned his upcoming hiking trip to Redwood National Park that Maya truly felt a spark ignite. "Redwoods," she blurted out, forgetting for a moment her charade. "Oh, they're magnificent. Have you been before?" His eyes lit up. "A few times. It's my happy place. The way the light filters through the canopy, the smell of damp earth and redwood needles, it's just incredible." "You like hiking?" Maya's heart pounded. This was something she and Lily definitely didn't share. Lily considered walking from the car to the restaurant, roughing it. "I love it," Maya confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. "There's nothing like being surrounded by nature, feeling so small and insignificant amidst all that grandeur. She instantly regretted the intensity in her tone, worried she'd given herself away. But Alex just smiled. I completely agree. Most people I know prefer air-conditioned malls. It's refreshing to meet someone who appreciates the quiet majesty of the natural world. He paused, a thoughtful expression on his face. Maybe sometime we could go on a hike together. There's a great trail near here, less crowded than the popular ones. The invitation hung in the air, thick with possibility. Maya's mind was a whirlwind. Should she? Could she? This was insane. She was pretending to be her sister, and now she was being invited on a date that actually sounded appealing. That sounds... Maya began, then stopped, searching for the right word. Wonderful. The word slipped out before she could censor it. The truth revealed. The combined scents of garlic and oregano drifted from the kitchen, a warm embrace against the cool night air. An unfamiliar sound escaped Maya, laughter. It bubbled up after Alex recounted his macaron baking fiasco, a saga involving rogue food coloring, and a hyperactive smoke detector. He had an unexpected knack for storytelling, and she found herself captivated. Then, Lily appeared. Standing in the doorway, her sister's usual radiance seemed to falter as her eyes locked onto Maya and Alex. The familiar, self-assured smile wavered, replaced by a shadow that sent a chill through Maya, not just confusion, but a distinct sting of hurt. The mirth died on Maya's lips, replaced by a sudden, unwelcome wave of guilt. This wasn't part of the plan. She hadn't considered the repercussions, lost in the thrill of the deception, the audacity of impersonating Lily. Lily! You're here! Alex exclaimed, pushing himself up from his chair. I wasn't expecting you for another half hour. Lily remained silent, her gaze unwavering. The background hum of the restaurant clinking silverware, hushed conversations faded into a dull roar, drowned out by the frantic drumming in Maya's chest. She felt exposed, a fraud laid bare. What's going on, Maya? Lily finally asked, her voice strained, the usual glint in her eyes extinguished, replaced by wary suspicion. Words failed her. How could she begin to explain? How could she defend the elaborate fabrication she'd constructed? Alex, oblivious to the palpable tension, grinned. Lily, this is Lily. Your twin. He gestured between them, beaming. We were just getting acquainted. She was telling me all about your work at the animal shelter. He chuckled, clearly amused by some shared history Maya couldn't access. The fabricated details stung. Gathering her courage, Maya managed a response, her voice hoarse and trembling. Lily, it's not what it looks like. Lily's brow furrowed deeper. Then enlighten me, Maya. Because it certainly appears you're enjoying a date with Alex. A date I was supposed to be on. The unspoken truth loomed between them, a stifling cloud of shame and regret. Maya knew the moment of reckoning had arrived. It's complicated, she stammered, unable to meet Lily's piercing stare. I realize how this appears, and I'm deeply, truly sorry. I made a terrible mistake. She glanced at Alex, whose cheerful expression had dissolved into bewildered concern. Alex, there's something you both need to know. I'm not Lily. I'm Maya. Lily's twin sister. The declaration hung in the air, stark and unavoidable. The liberation of confession fought with the dread of what was to come. She had betrayed her sister, misled an innocent man, and destroyed the nascent connection she'd forged with Alex. All for a foolish, ill-conceived lark. I asked Alex here tonight. I pretended to be you, Maya admitted, her voice barely audible. I'm so sorry. I'm not even sure what I wanted. But it was wrong, and I sincerely apologize. A second chance. Alex blinked, the dim light of the restaurant glinting off his glasses. Maya braced herself, the remnants of her courage already evaporating like morning mist. She expected awkwardness, maybe even a hasty retreat. Instead, a slow smile spread across his face. "Wow," he said, the word laced with genuine surprise. That takes guts, Maya." "Seriously?" He leaned back slightly, considering her. "And you know what? I actually really enjoyed talking to you tonight. You're different." Relief washed over her, so potent it almost made her weak. "Different good, I hope," she managed, her voice still a shaky whisper. He chuckled, a warm, pleasant sound. "Definitely different good. Lily is amazing, don't get me wrong, but you actually listened when I talked about my work. And the bookstore. I could spend hours in there." Maya dared to meet his gaze. The kindness she saw there bolstered her resolve. "So," she began, the word catching in her throat. She cleared it and tried again. "Where does this leave us?" Alex paused, as if carefully considering his words. "How about a second chance? A real date? Just you and me, talking about books and maybe grabbing some terrible diner food afterwards." Her heart fluttered. A real date? With Alex? I'd like that," she said, the words coming out a little too fast. Lily, who had been discreetly eavesdropping from a nearby table, swooped in like a benevolent hawk. "Did I hear someone say date?" She beamed at them both, her earlier mischievous glint replaced with genuine excitement. "This is fantastic. Maya, you absolutely have to go. Alex is a gem. And you deserve some happiness, little sis." Maya blushed, feeling a surge of affection for her sister, despite the slight mortification. "Lily, I haven't even said yes yet." Though, in truth, she already had. "Oh, she's saying yes," Lily declared, winking at Alex. "Trust me. Now, details. Where are you taking her? And don't even think about suggesting that awful burger place on Elm Street. Maya deserves better." Alex laughed, the sound infectious. "No burger places, I promise. How about that new Italian place downtown? La Luna. They have amazing pasta, and it's quiet enough to actually talk." Maya's stomach did a little flip. La Luna sounds perfect. Lily clapped her hands together. "Perfect. See? I knew you two would hit it off. Now, I'm going to leave you lovebirds to plan the rest. Maya, call me later. I need all the juicy details." She squeezed Maya's shoulder and gave Alex another encouraging smile before retreating back to her friends. Once Lily was gone, a comfortable silence settled between them. The clatter of the restaurant faded into the background. Maya looked at Alex, truly looked at him, seeing past the awkwardness of the evening, past the initial misunderstanding. Maybe, just maybe, this crazy night could actually lead to something real. Unexpected happiness. The trailhead air tasted of pine and damp earth, a welcome change from the city's exhaust fumes. Maya adjusted the strap of her backpack, feeling a nervous flutter in her stomach. She hadn't hiked in years, not since she was a kid dragging her feet behind her family. "Ready?" Alex asked, his smile warm and reassuring. "As I'll ever be," Maya replied, returning his smile. The first part of the trail was gentle, a winding path through dappled sunlight. Alex pointed out different types of trees and birds, his enthusiasm infectious. Maya found herself relaxing, the tension in her shoulders easing with each step. They talked easily, about their favorite books, their families, even their childhood dreams. Maya discovered a shared love for old movies, and a surprising agreement on the best way to make a grilled cheese sandwich. As the trail grew steeper, Maya lagged behind, her breath coming in ragged gasps. "Need a break?" Alex asked, concern etched on his face. She nodded, sinking onto a fallen log. He sat beside her, offering a water bottle. "This is harder than I remember," she admitted, feeling a blush creep up her neck. "It's all about pacing yourself," he said gently. "And enjoying the view." He gestured to the panorama of rolling hills stretching out before them. Maya looked, really looked, and felt a sense of awe wash over her. The world felt vast and beautiful, and for the first time in a long time, she felt like she was a part of it. They continued the hike at a slower pace, Alex matching his stride to hers. They reached a small waterfall, the water cascading into a crystal-clear pool. They sat in comfortable silence, listening to the roar of the water, feeling the cool spray on their faces. Months later, Lily's birthday party was in full swing. The backyard was strung with fairy lights, music pulsed from the speakers, and laughter filled the air. Maya stood near the edge of the patio, a glass of sparkling cider in her hand, watching the revelry. Alex came up beside her, slipping his hand into hers. "Having fun?" he asked, his voice warm against her ear. "More than I expected," she replied, squeezing his hand. Lily caught her eye and gave her a knowing smile. Maya smiled back, feeling a surge of affection for her sister. She never would have pictured this. She had planned to attend the birthday party as a supportive sister, not a girlfriend. Later, as the party wound down and the guests began to depart, Maya sat on the porch swing with Alex, watching the fireflies dance in the twilight. She thought about the chain of events that had led her to this moment: Lily's relentless matchmaking, Alex's unexpected charm, the impulsive decision to go on that hike. It was all so improbable, so unlikely. Yet, here she was, happier than she had been in years, all because of a blind date that wasn't even meant for her. Sometimes, Maya thought, the best surprises come in the most unexpected ways, disguised as acts of kindness, a shared love for nature, or a sister's well-intentioned meddling. And sometimes, those surprises lead to something truly special.